Weed for the People podcast 8. We got a real treat for you this week. We got Shane, co-founder of Maven. Like I say, the show's about uplifting the brands that have been around, that are patient first, that are staying in the game. And despite all the problems out there in the industry, despite all the bad policy, they're moving forward, they're surviving, they're still standing around, and they're like, yo, I'm fucking here. Patient first, product first. We'll get into some of the specifics of how they're doing that later. But, real pleasure to have Shane on. I'm going to do a little intro. I don't know which camera the fuck I'm supposed to look in. They try to tell me, but I'm learning the podcast game. But look, man, I don't have too much of a rant today to start off. I just want to kind of, obviously we've been talking a little bit on here about herbal and then blowing up. And look, there was poor corporate governance there. I actually know, quite a bit because there was a moment when we looked at it to see if there was anything we could do with it. But it's also a combination of bad policy that, just is continuing to pile, bodies a mile high. The MSOs are leaving the state. And, a little part of me thinks like, y'all motherfuckers are soft. You can't make it here. And there's a lot of truth in that. But the flip side of that is, look, man, there's just really, really, really bad policy. We'll see how this herbal, situation ends. It's a fucking tragedy of events, right? Like at the end of the day, are the brands going to get all their money? Are they not going to get all their money? One thing that we're really proud of that I could probably put out there, it's a little bit of a humble brag, but maybe a message to some of the retailers out there. We did get all our AR out of herbal, right? And we had to get real feisty with them. And, look, I think there was a lot of denial there by the leadership, but in the last moment, Mike did release the AR. I think we're probably the last one to get it out. So all our brands are paid in full, or the last one's getting paid in full. But the rest of them, we already, knocked out in full, which we're really proud of. And, look, sometimes, as a retailer, I get it. You're all stuck in a tough spot on this one. It's happened to us before when Bird Valley broke up. You got to, make sure you hold the money, but hold the money for the right reasons. Don't make it as an excuse. So it'd be a call to retailers just to, look, keep paying your bills, figure out how to, make this herbal thing work. I know it's a complicated one. Then outside the herbal thing, like, and by the way, whether it's the street or it's legal, just pay your fucking bills. And if you can't pay them, just man up and address it, talk about it, make a payment plan, figure it out. If your excise tax payment's going to hit, just fucking get on the phone. Yo, excise is going to hit. I need 5 days. And I think people will be cool with it. This whole ghosting thing and rotating out brands is destroying the industry. We got enough problems to deal with the government. Maybe we'll get into some of that stuff later. But look, anybody who's still standing, props to them. We do call on the government to like, yo, just throw us a little fucking bone here, man. We're being discriminated against. There's no other way to put it. I get it. We're not all one gender. We're not all one race. I know this is controversial to say, but it's just discrimination at its finest because we chose a certain industry that we're passionate about. So that's just my little intro. Pleasure to have Shane on, fucking real one. Gonna start out by asking him, how you got into the industry. I know you got some real fucking history as far as being in it, but how you got started in cannabis, and then kind of where that led you on your journey today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys so much for having me. My journey in cannabis was a little bit unique. From a personal perspective, I've already had a very large appreciation for the plant. It was part of my upbringing in like the skateboard surf culture and whatnot. And then as I saw it evolve and my friends were growing OGs in the valley or whatnot, I was going to college and it was very hard to take part in that. So as time went on, I, at a very young age, I think I was roughly 23, a little interesting hardships in the household, and stacked up enough money moving packs to move out and rented a house and started growing in 2 rooms. And then I just kept continuing on the journey, but I was vending to all the shops in LA and the Valley. And
about what year?
Oh shit, man. Early 2000s, early like 2000, cool, whatnot. Right on. So yeah, it's been interesting watching the industry evolve, from all the dispensaries that stood their ground, watching them get their door kicked in, robbed by the cops, opening right back up. Not a lot of people really know those fucking stories, but it's a real thing. Like, you wouldn't expect law enforcement to be kicking in your doors, ripping your security cameras out.
I'll give you a story on that.
Like all that shit, taking your fucking money, taking your product, and then you didn't get in trouble back then. It was really interesting. And then a lot of my friends would be opening shop a couple days later, and it carried on like that for quite some time. And here we are in this really not so well structured legal market. I felt like the illegal market, they paid you way more on time, and fucking street word was of value, and that's how people had their credibility. And here we are in the structured program, and it's an absolute disaster. But, you know, we're thankful to be a part of it, and we've definitely been part of paving the road with a lot of the other legacy brands out there.
Cool, right on. What strains were you guys growing back then?
OG, man. It was a pre-98 Bubba and OG.
Yeah, no, I'm still partial to OGs, probably just because I grew up smoking it. I'll tell one funny story. Obviously, we'll focus on you, but since you brought it up, this is actually not like super way back in the day. Maybe it's 2014, 15. And, you know, we were helping a guy do pop-ups. I'll leave his name out, but he was pretty hot at the time. He was popping up, you know, was kind of behind the scenes a little bit. And LAPD rolled, and they were like, put everybody on the wall. So I'm not there, but I'm getting calls and everything. And they pushed everybody up on the wall. This fucking really happened. And we're like, oh shit, here they are. And, you know, somebody asked naturally like, hey, where's the fucking warrant, right? And they're like, shut the fuck up, get on the wall. So the end result is, you know, they get into the safe. And this was like kind of a thing that was going on where they were selling a little bit higher quantities and all that kind of thing. And this dude was doing pop-ups. So he'd put him on his IG for a day and take him down. Had a pretty decent sized following. But they took all the fucking product, all the money. They got a pretty good lick. It was like, I don't know, probably 80 grand worth of money and product. And the tickets that people got, they were just like made up ticket. Bullshit. So people started calling like, well, where do I appear? And it was not even a thing. So it was like, you know, I think there was probably 7-8 cops. It was just a full on fucking robbery. And this is even, you know, later. I know, you know, guys went through, you know, way harder shit. So it's fucking crazy shit that you would never think that it would happen. But I could tell you like that shit is real. Law enforcement is, you know, on the jack. It was kind of on the border of South LA, and they just came in. They thought they could do whatever they want. But look, back to your story. So you're growing, you're flipping packs, you're growing in garages, and then or in rooms in a house, and then how does that evolve? Like over the next kind of, you know, 5-6 years before, you know, and then maybe even 10 years before it really, you know, start tickling with the legal market. And then of course, back then before the Obama kind of was like, all right, hands off DOJ. I mean, you're taking big risk.
Yep. I mean, those are the good old days. And, you know, I think for me, just being not in the warehouse, like a lot of the big growers and my friends, what they were doing, because they were so reclused from what was going on in the industry. You know, you could blow it up in a warehouse and have a couple of your homies that would really take your whole load. Me, I was getting packs from all over the place and working with multiple dispensaries all through the Valley in LA. And a couple people were putting stickers on the jars, and a couple people had branding. And I just started thinking, and then, you know, just watching the industry evolve with branding cannabis. So, you know, just talking to my team, trying to figure out what our angle would be. And I was like, hey, you guys, you know, you're already great growers and you're doing what you're doing. And I've got the bandwidth to go put product in the shops. Illegal activities, you know, they're going to run out one day with our luck. So what do you guys think? And we created the brand Maven. And I felt like our team, you know, being connoisseurs in a sense, we don't really just cultivate cannabis to grow it. We're very particular, like on our craft and the quality that we bring to the industry. And that's kind of what Maven means. It means connoisseurs, experts in a specific field, and ones of knowledge. And I felt like it was really unique for us to curate this brand with meaning and really kind of stay true to the craft and provide good medicine, which I think people forget about a lot these days, that cannabis did come from a medicinal background, and then the recreational just really took over. Right.
I always say, like, I don't know where the distinction is between rec and medical. To me, it's just, you know, another form of medication that, like, hey, if you use it to unwind, where's the line drawn? Actually, you took my next question. I was going to curious where the name Maven came from. Yeah. When did that come about? When you actually were like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Maven's the name. We're going to put our stamp on it, and we're going to rock Maven all the way going forward.
You know, we were just kind of looking at branding in general, and we wanted to curate something that was timeless. You know, we didn't want it to be a phase of, you know, like outgrowing something. So we kind of came up with this aesthetic that we thought wouldn't run out, and wanted to showcase good quality cannabis and make sure that it just had a good presentation with all the details or as many details as we could fulfill for what we try to bring to the industry.
Nice. No, I love the patient first part. And like, look, we're kicking this off. It's organic, not a huge viewership yet. But I say if when the bud tenders tune in and they watch it, right, that gives them an idea of what they're selling. I think the story is important. But like when they recommend a product, they want to know that it's product first and that there's a lot of attention being put into that, right? So it's, as far as the cultivation goes, what would you say is like a differentiator between you know, obviously everybody's kind of got their craft, and it's like artists, you know, there's
Absolutely.
I've been to a lot of grows. I'm not, you know, super well versed, wouldn't say, but through osmosis, and everybody has a different cure. They grow with a different recipe, et cetera, et cetera. Is there something, without giving away any trade secrets? I always laugh. Some people are like, no photography. I'm like, as if somebody could recreate what you've done here with the, you know, photography. It'd be like taking a picture of a Van Gogh, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to make that.
Yeah, I can go do that right.
Right. But what about Maven would you say is, you know, unique, at least as far as like kind of the way you approach the cultivation aspect of it?
You know, the cultivation aspect of it, we have some of the greatest growers in our team that have been a part of it for years. I mean, a lot of the people that work with us today came from the traditional market over 20 years ago when we were doing warehouses and all that stuff. So the level of trust, the longevity that they've had in it, and knowing that they can curate their own SOPs or implement the ones that, or absorb the ones that we've already had. We just have such a great team that is very attention to detail, I guess you could say. Chad Salute being one of our head of cultivation, Aaron Batesh, Alfie, Max, like there's just so many great people on our team, and I always get in trouble because I forget everyone's name. So I'm sorry if
Don't worry about it.
It's on the hotspot, but I mean, I'm just so thankful to have
Call
people
it
that
the Maven Army.
Yeah, the Maven Army. You know, I'm so thankful to have the players that we have on our team to make it all come together as a self-funded company. You know what I mean? We really run lean and stay in our lane. And we're just really happy to have the torch that we have these days, because no matter what, there's always still a little PTSD when you come from the traditional market. It wasn't what it is today at all. And now it's just kind of like a walk in the park. Cannabis is fun and it's accepted, it's exciting. But I think for us, we are so fortunate to have the torch that we have right now to enter the legal market. And when you come from something traditional market, I guess you could say, where you have to worry about your door getting kicked in every morning for years, it feels nice. And having that opportunity, you really want to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, and look, we want to, you know, give a shout out to all the guys that really, the shoulders that we stand on, that paved the way, that were there, you know, really doing it hard before we got there. There would be no market, all the way down, you know, from reception to bud tender. If you have a job in today in legal cannabis, or you're working in it, like, you know, salute to all the legacy guys. I'll ask you a funny one. So Chad Salute, how does he feel about the moniker that has got into the lexicon, Chad? Because I have a few friends named Chad, so I always call him Cool Chad. But there's a funny question. I think they just took the most common name, or maybe it was, right?
Oh man!
And so just, does he ever get fucked with on that?
Absolutely. It's hard not to fuck with Chad, because he is like such a nice guy, and he's just like he's just got the most welcoming energy. And it's like the Chad that's not a Chad. So right. We like put little pictures of his face on water bottles, and it, like, our camaraderie in our environment is so like friendly. If you didn't fuck with each other, it wouldn't be any fun. So we have a great time at work, and yeah, Chad the dad, you know.
100%. Look, some days I'm just grinding all day at my desk, but then, you know, some days I'm out in the field. But I always make it a point to, like, you know, purchasing I was 6, now it's 5, because one of the guys got elevated. I'll pop in there, just talk a little shit, fuck with them. One guy in particular, really good kid, but nice kid. He's just fun to fuck with. I don't know why. And he takes it pretty well. He's doing a really good job. Yeah. We kind of built him up. I'll drop into marketing. But again, we're always jabbing and having fun. And that culture to me is like super important. And like, if there's anybody that ever comes in that like doesn't seem like they're going to get into the culture, like, and look, I think each company has their own way of doing it, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, look, I'm going to spend a lot of hours here.
Yeah.
You know, right? I'm going to be working, but at the same time, I want to be jiving and, having fun and like, go ahead and make fun of me. Right.
Absolutely.
Apparently in the video today, somebody, we might put something out. It's a pretty fucking hot take. Somebody was like, you're looking pretty fucking fat in that shirt. And I was like, really? And then I looked and I'm like, yeah, that shirt is making me look fucking fat.
Yeah.
Hey, what can I say? I'm eating well.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think it's a fun part of it and it keeps it, keeps it interesting. So look, I want to talk about, you guys have been on a fucking heater as far as awards are concerned. I know you smacked one at Olympics and some other, some other events. So go through some of those. I mean, I just think it's really cool to get the validation of the industry. Man. And, to have people recognize like, yo, these dudes putting out some fucking fire ass flower. So walk me through all those. Like, this is your time to fucking brag like a motherfucker.
Bragging rights, right?
Yeah. If you win them, hey, you're just telling the truth. It ain't bragging, right?
Yeah. I think for us entering the industry, I looked up to so many of these great brands, like these top shelf brands. I wanted to be like them. And we just couldn't price ourselves like that because everyone's like, we don't know who the fuck you are because we didn't have that clout or that hype or anything. So we came into the industry priced a little bit lower to get our foot in the door. But our main thing was just to showcase the quality. So I don't know, getting our foot in the door, expanding our retail bandwidth and finally being visible is a fucking huge win for us. So like, I think it started off at Kushstock a long time ago. Dr. K is the man for giving multiple brands in the industry a voice. And I love all these guys that are throwing these events because...
By the way, we had Wayne on last week, just like
Wayne Tay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Silent fucking hero.
Yeah.
And then look, it's these events that help elevate
absolutely
brands like Maven, let us congregate and do the whole thing. So not to interrupt, but shout out to Wayne for putting all these big events on, just the silent warrior that really is an important part of the culture that I think people underestimate maybe how important events are. They're super important to me. And then like, you get these you get an award or something and everybody's there from the industry. It's a nice, thing to get.
It really is.
So walk me through how that feels and the awards that you actually got. I know you got the most pretty
best hair.
You've definitely got the best hair. I'm trying to think who might have better hair.
Yeah. We could have a hair off, but yeah, these events are fucking amazing, especially starting with Kushstock. And then we started to look at the visibility and the bud tenders and the culture and the people that show up. It's like, these are the people that support you. So why not be visible, right? And then from there, we did Farmers Cup. So a little bit of bragging rights that we have going on here is we placed first at Farmers Cup for our French laundry. That was a huge win for us because we just started to finally showcase all of the strains that we've been putting out, and French laundry was a huge win. And then after that, Kushstock did well. And then, here we are now at the Olympics, which I would kind of consider like the Grammys of the cannabis industry in a sense. They've done such a great job, the whole Green Wolf and Olympics team. And what I like about it the most is there's no favoritism, right? Like, you kind of get to submit blind. That way, no one's kind of like, oh, my homie's brand or any of that kind of shit. And I love the way it pans out to where it's the people's choice. And the day of the event, they showcase who the winners are. Or actually, they showcase who, what numbers belong to which brand. And I thought that was so unique. And we were just very fortunate to win best looking flower and most unique. We took 2 first place trophies. And that was huge for us. And I couldn't be more thankful for, everybody out there that hosts these events, for all the dope brands in the industry to be seen. Like, it's nice for all of us to get together. It's nice for all of us to clap and cheer for each other. I hope it doesn't ever turn into a competition,
right?
In a sense where brands are actually going up against each other in a negative light due to commercialization. I feel like everyone should have a choice to pick what they want. And clap for the fucking guy that's winning. I think it's a great thing for who cares who it is. Just keep it moving. Yeah. You're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And I feel very fortunate and can't thank everyone enough for giving, hosting these events and giving all these great brands the opportunity to be seen.
No, that's super cool. And then predating Olympics, you guys got some other. By the way, that shit looked like it was cracking. I couldn't make it. I'm off next time. I'm fucking in. Like, I was just, you're watching all the feed come in and like, that was like fucking a big.
It was huge.
Yeah, because we do little small baby events and we were debating like, what's the fucking price tag on some shit like that, right? They definitely, not that that's the end all be all, but like they brought in some talent. It's a really big event.
Dude, it was organized well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have your seating, like everything was so well structured. It felt like when you look at cannabis events and like the history of them, they're kind of very like chill, lax. It's very like kind of old school. And to see the evolution of what these events and the true power of being a part of them, it's like a fucking huge win for anybody that could be seen. And I don't know, we're just very fortunate and we're super thankful. And it's just awesome to be a part of like this whole growth.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, too, and I'll always say this and I'll keep beating this point home until fucking I could beat it home 1,000 times. The biggest influencers in cannabis are the bud tenders. So
absolutely.
These events are also widely attended by bud tenders. And, I always say, I don't know what we're up to now. I think around 600-ish people that are there on the front line every day doing, whatever it is, thousands and thousands of transactions. I think we're up to, a few 100,000 a month. And that person is going to recommend, something. Like a lot of people kind of know what they want, but the average buyer comes and get 2.5 things. So like, let's say you come in for X, you're probably going to try Y, and the bud tender has a huge input in that. And then, we train our guys and girls the best we can. Don't recommend some shit that you wouldn't hang your hat on. And then,
Absolutely.
We don't try to steer them in one direction or another, but I also do think that, and I would say like, fuck the following, fuck whatever, like the 400 or 500 bud tenders that are watching and following, like, when they see us like, hey, we're getting behind these guys, or they get to know you, or they see you win an award, that kicks up more doors, in my opinion, than, just about anything else. Let me ask you this. So, well, first of all, how many people are more or less a part of the Maven organization?
There's 5 of us that are like the key components to making decisions, and there's nobody else above us. Like me and my partners, we kind of do the whole divide and conquer, and each one of them are so great at what they do that's completely different, and then we all kind of come together. But roughly there's about 5 or 6 of us key players that discuss, and then we have so many other great people around us to fulfill their roles, and we have amazing staff. I think we roughly have, let's just say, 200 employees.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on, and I think what's great about our team is we all trust each other in our roles, and we're not really looking over each other's shoulders or pointing fingers. We all have great communication, and it's just great to have friends and business partners, because sometimes that doesn't really mesh too well.
I always say, if I can't do business with you, I won't be your fucking friend anyway.
Exactly.
People are like, oh, I lost friends over business. I'm like, no, you didn't. That was just some guy that was like fun to have a drink with or a smoke with. But at the end of the day, like, if he did you dirty, like, you were never really my friend. Or if he's a halfer, like, I don't want to have halfers as friends anyway. And like, kind of same mentality. It's a Spartan mentality. Like, at the end of the day, if you're going to make it in this game, and then you have to have people in there, I don't give a fuck what you're running, where everybody's buying in to what you're doing. So I guess the next question would be, and this is, I think, a common theme that, of the people that are surviving, and I think why the MSOs are losing, they went out and headhunted and like got this talent. So like those people are that's just there really to like, punch the clock, 9 to 5, whatever. Maybe they work a little longer, I don't know, and make a paycheck, right? When you started from the beginning and you got the core founders there that are also working, you kind of build this culture, so how have you got it so that everybody's kind of like buying in? Because, we all know, for the most part, everybody's probably getting paid, unfortunately, less than what they should make if they worked for any other industry, because the government's getting all our money. So there's got to be some long-term buy-in. What do you, how did Maven kind of pull that off? I'm sure there's just some organic, to it. Sounds like you got some, fun, jabbing going back and forth. But
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about the culture that's developed and, how you got people to buy in.
My partner, Dave, I take my hat off to that man every day, because I don't think the company would truly be what it is without his vision. And the partners that were parallel to him, he kind of brought on board, like my partner, Mike, Jason, Miguel, Julius. Like there's like some major key components right there when we talk about the whole divide and conquer. And when it came down to like crunching numbers, of course we all know what we feel like we should be paid and this and that. I think my partners, since they did so well in the traditional market, they were able to put a couple nest eggs away to ride the wave out and have that cushion, and they weren't getting paid, and we fucking sat there, and there was a time where finally they had to pull a little bit, out to survive. But we run lean. Like, none of us are living false lifestyles and fucking driving Ferrari, like all that stuff that you kind of see from the trap market. We are so dedicated to where we're at, and every penny counts. You know what I mean? We're not throwing it out and bringing it back in like the traditional market was when it wasn't overly saturated. I feel like I don't know, trap is so trendy now because it's legal. I just don't believe in what true trap is, because when you're in that real situation, you're not talking about it and showing off like a lot of kids are these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let the product speak for itself. I'm hoping we evolve out of that. Look, we have one of our founders who's not as actively involved. Super cool guy. One of my favorite fucking dudes on earth. And anytime we ever needed him, he came through, right? And he likes to have some watches and some cars, but he's earned it. Of course, you're right. But hey,
part of it.
Yeah, to each their own. I'm always proud that I'm like, I think I'm the lowest. I just take the healthcare and that's it. I'm like, I think I'm the lowest paid CEO in cannabis. So look, I do think that's super critical of these companies that survive. It's not just the money thing; it's the commitment to have something that stays around, that survives the test of time. I'm interested. So you guys self-distribute?
Yeah, we do self-distro.
So how is that logistically? And look, I've been even having some conversations of my own with other retailers on maybe coming up with a solution. I know some brands are trying to come up with solutions, now that, I don't want to kick Herbal too hard when they're down, but I'll tell one funny story. We did go there. This is fucked up, but I'll just say it. And, you're looking around and, we're trying to size it up and whatever. And, they got a coffee maker, and we're like, this is the fucking nicest coffee maker that I actually think I put a poll on IG. Like, even with the music, like, they still can't figure it out. And then, like, I saw who's voting, like 5 or 6 of our own guys know. So we went back, we looked, we're like, that's the fucking nicest coffee maker I've ever seen. Sure. And it's a small thing, right? But somebody found it on Amazon because we started betting. We were degenerates. We bet on everything, right? Over-unders on this and the revenue for the month and whatever. So it turned out the coffee maker, I think, was $12,800. And it's like, really?
For a coffee maker?
Yeah.
It's got to be some good fucking coffee.
Yeah, espresso pods are good. I lost my train of thought, though. So the distribution. Yeah. So, like, I know there's a lot of logistics that go on that. And I know for, the companies that, let's just say, are middle-sized, how is that getting to all those doors? And how many doors do you get to from on the distribution side?
When it comes to distribution, it was a pretty big struggle in the beginning, trying to figure out all of it, and Julius, one of our other partners, has been such a great attribute. I don't think we would truly be where we're at without his guidance as well. I think just going through the trials and errors, and with that, making sure we wanted to do self-distro because it's like, no one's going to do your job interview better than you. And we felt like if we're going to do this, we want to be very hands-on. That way, when the driver shows up, they're showcasing the brand, they're giving customer service. Like, we just wanted to make sure that we were like the full package. And that way the money is in our hand when we pick it up. Everything across the board. It just felt good to be hands-on. So logistically, it was a nightmare to figure out, but I think our team is so strong right now, and we've done such a great job with all the learning curves and hurdles that we've conquered.
Curiosity about how many vans do you guys have?
I think we have about 7 vans, and we're anywhere, and I would like to say 350 retails.
Just so you know, there's going to be some cheap ones coming out of Herbal pretty soon.
Yeah.
Not to keep beating on them. I think they're going to go to sale or something. Somebody brought it to my attention today, and I was like, well, I don't need them per today, but I'm looking ahead. I'll take 1 or 2 at a discount. So how many doors would you say you guys are?
I think we're in roughly 350.
350? Yeah. I know there's like 800 or 1,000, but my guess is like 300 of them are 85%. Like, is it worth going? And then how do you determine, maybe history, whatever, but like, all right, so you got to put something on 30-day front. Generally, you guys front it out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's just, and we've even, in our, we're burning money. I'm like, how are we fucking burning money right now? We haven't hit the excise. So I started looking and I'm like, oh, are we doing the thing? Our average hold time is 48, 49 days. And then our average pay time is really like 33, 34 because we get invoiced and we get it out, right? So that's 15 days. And as you get bigger, you're like, holy shit, this is multiple. So
fucking scary.
So we're shrinking the inventory. So it's 30 to 30 more or less. But how do you decide, how to extend credit and how that works and just the whole fuckery of the, the AR that's going on out there.
Yeah, it's a scary thing. When you look at the fuckery that's going on, it's really unfortunate that the state of the industry is where it is, right? We have these great partnerships, or you would like to think that they're great partnerships, and there's no real repercussions on this handshake with strangers, I guess you could say, right? You open the door, you try to build the relationship, and in 30 days they're expected to pay you. And that's ran on fairly well for many years up until today's times. And it's really unfortunate when you have that need for the rotating capital to keep your business afloat, and the retails are holding on to it, but you need that money to pay your employees. And there's this like weird dynamic that's going on where the retails aren't really respecting the brands and the terms and the partnership, let alone communication. It's almost like, hey, you owe me some money, we're at the terms. It doesn't always have to be the best answer. It doesn't need to be what I want to hear, but you could at least have the professionalism to say, hey, Shane, we don't have your payment for you right now. And I could take that. That'll be on the books, and I'll revisit that instead of hounding you and having.
Yeah, otherwise you can't even plan. Right?
Exactly. So I was like, oh shit, and that's kind of where the state is right now. When it comes to being in that many doors and still wanting to grow, I think now we're really vetting our partnerships. A lot of scary things that I'm seeing out there is consignment, and then paying for shelf space and all these other things that are going on. I think our industry's at a very interesting place. But at the end of the day, it really does come down to having good partnerships. You guys have been one of them. We're really happy to work with the Catalyst team. You guys have been really sharp. I love you guys being on the up and up and always kind of, meeting in the middle and owning up to your word. That's a special partnership. I hope other people could learn by example and take this industry a little bit more serious and professional for the opportunity to make money on terms and grant.
Well, the thing for me is, look, we've come short sometimes, and then you're building and, shit goes over and you're trying to plan it, but we go short. I probably shouldn't say this on camera. Yeah. We go short on the government, right? So this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at portfolios now, and I'm not ashamed to say this, fuck it, it's happened, whatever. It's all worked out. We're in payment plans, but we pay our workers and the vendors, and then we get around to the government, right? And so as I look at these portfolios, what's interesting to me is I know a lot of these guys owe, right? And I'm looking at, so the industry's kind of busting out. So literally I'm getting and they're not all good, but I'm probably getting 3 or 4 deals to look at a week, and we don't have money to buy them, but it's hey, we'll try to come in and run it, turn it around, and then, maybe we'll take a little lump and have some option later if we ever do get the money. So that's kind of the new phase of the industry where we always had to apply, win, build, apply, win, build. I think there's going to be an acceleration, but what's always interesting to me, oh man, I shouldn't say this, but these motherfuckers are paying everything. They're 280E and everything, and then they're not paying the vendors. And to me, the order has always been, workers, vendors, investors, yourself, maybe, if you're lucky, sure. And then the government, maybe the government before yourself. So, we've got ourselves, anytime we were short, we will forego paying the CDFTA. Hopefully now we're past that, but we've always make sure that we make the vendor payments, which really never made no fucking sense to me. And maybe they just don't want to stare them down or whatever. You sold the fucking weed. So whatever you didn't make on the other part, you got to deal with those consequences. And if you don't have enough money to pay the government or pay yourself, you sold the fucking weed, yeah, right? That's basic, right? So what's been super interesting to me, and I won't say anybody in specific, and look, I'm probably NDA too, is I'm looking at these portfolios. Some of them owe the vendors a substantial amount of money, sure. And then they're current on their taxes. And I'm not saying don't be current on your taxes, but that just seems fucking, ass backwards. Is there without saying names, or if you want to say them, I don't give a fuck. Is there is there a large one out there that's been a hard pill to swallow that you had to deal with?
Absolutely. I mean, it's as much as I would like to put people on blast and really showcase.
No need. Yeah.
As much as I would like to, I'm hoping for the best that this learning curve, people could see, how to sharpen up their professionalism in a sense and strengthen the partnerships. It's a very difficult thing, man. And it sucks because when I try to reach out so many times and have a what I would like to think is a partnership, and now you're not responding, and
It's a pussy move.
I have to go get a fucking attorney now, and then we have to go get a collections agency and send out letters to put liens on people's license. Like, I don't want to have to do that.
Right.
That's not how this whole thing started.
No.
That sucks, you know?
Right.
But unfortunately, that's the poor structure of our industry and people in this panic mode trying to stay afloat. And here we are in a fucking multi-million, if not billion-dollar industry that's probably the most unorganized across the board, not by our operators' perspective, but from the people that implemented the structure on us. That is an absolute fail.
No, I think that's a common theme. And look, this is just life in general. Like, yo, just answer your phone. Don't be a bitch. Like, don't be a pussy. Don't run from your issue.
That shit never happened in the traditional days, man. Like, you know, there was an awkward a little bit. I mean, come on, we all did, but you get over those clowns and fucking, you know, you made it better.
I also think it's bad business. And then, you know, also talking to some of these things that we're, you know, trying to get, you know, acquire or whatever. And then, you know, they're, you know, well, we'll do these, but we want to get your purchasing power. And they'll even acknowledge, like, hey, we fucked up our purchasing power.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty cheeky. Like, let's say, hey man, we need a little help here, whatever. And, you know, we try not to, you know, lean too hard on our shelf space, but it's nice. You get one drop, whatever. But like, how the fuck are you ever going to develop? Like, you're going to call somebody up and say, hey, can I get a few % break? Cause, you know, it's getting tough out here and whatever. And you're late. You owe, you've like have a bad payment history. So I think all the guys that did that, like, we know who they are for the most part. And maybe some of them are trying to clean it up a little bit, but I don't think that ever leaves you. So besides being immoral and unethical, and I just think, you know, all the rest of it, and then it's just some pussy shit not to get your phone. Like, answer your fucking phone and man up. I just think it's bad, you know, business. Let's talk a little bit about the industry. We were, you know, we just did like a 5-minute rapid best before we came on, just jamming here because I like to keep it free flowing. But we were talking a little bit, and I, you know, started off talking state of the industry. Like, look, we all know it's just really, really a lot of blood in the street out there. Everybody's just trying to get by. I mean, what do you think as far as the state goes, and like why they can't see the most basic? Like, yo, dude, if you just got the fuck out the way, this would be substantially better for everybody. Like, what do you think's going on, like, up there in Sacramento? Like, where's their head at? Like, this is just obvious.
You know, there's like the conspiracy theorist part of me that thinks that this shit is all structured for failure. And it was like one of those things that you would think about, but now it seems to be a little bit more of a reality, you know, especially with the state of the industry. It's like, the writing is so on the wall, you know, they see it. And I think they're just turning their back and they're going like this to kind of see if the stronger survive and what that looks like. And they're just going to take all this capital and watch everyone bleed out. And then they're going to wait for whatever entity comes through to swoop up the survivors and then just make it their own. I don't have the best answer for this, but it just doesn't really feel too comfortable when there's so much like obvious kinks that we could work through if there was a true understanding for the people that fucking like run these businesses that know structure like yourself, and to get information and make it better, but they're not doing that.
Well, the other big problem is the people up there that are like, in quotes, lobbying on our behalf, like from the industry, like I wouldn't want like nothing personal to almost all of them, but like, I don't want you speaking on my behalf. I'm pretty sure that most of the people that, and then the funny part is a lot of people that set the policy in the beginning, you know, they're actually already out, right? So they never really got the real input. I'm starting to think what you said, you know, and look, I don't give the state a lot of credit. I think they're mostly the stupidest people in the world, and they're just greedy and they do what's convenient and they're lazy, blah, blah, blah. I'm starting to think at this point, they are picking winners and losers. And look, I don't want to get into that right now. That's part of the Glass House litigation. And then we're getting some more intel, you know, save it for a little bit later, but I'll give one little, you know, vignette, you know, that it appears that she came from the state. And this was actually just relayed to me today. And it's the woman that ran the Mendo County, you know, basically licensing. And on strong intel, and by the way, I think her name's Kristen Manadel. I might've got it wrong or something, but she like admits to misallocating millions of dollars in grant money that they gave her. Right? But like, how do you make an error on millions of dollars, right? First, that's weird. But the word is that she was intentionally paper cutting the little guys up in Mendo so they couldn't get their sequence, so they couldn't get their license, right? And then the result of that, right, it really is a direct correlation. The dog got shot, right? Everybody saw that video.
That's horrible.
Where the law enforcement came in and shot the dog. But guess what? That's because Mendocino County did a poor job because they put this woman in charge who's connected to Sacramento, and they don't want the competition. Personally, what I'd like to see, and look, everybody has their own opinion, and who knows how much you could exert your will on it, is there should be a great diversity of product, or at least everybody has a chance on quality. And when you're like intentionally doing this sequa and that sequa, and then turning a hyper blind eye to one company, right? And look, we all know it's out there, people are doing it, but you're turning a hyper blind eye to one company. It does seem like you're starting to pick winners and losers. And I'm starting to shift from are they just stupid and greedy and lazy, or are they like willfully depressing down the prices or, valuations of these assets? Like, if you wanted to fucking sell a dispensary today, you can't sell that shit. There ain't nobody buying. There's no money in the game, right? I'm like half, chuckling that there's no money in the game anymore, because we never really had the big money. We got, a couple small licks, but all the big boys are cut off, and they were relying on the $50 million thing. So, I kind of take your side on it. That's like, man, I don't want to be Mr. QAnon conspiracy theory, or are they up there twisting their mustaches? But I do think there seems to be some sort of effort, at least at a minimum, to push big corporate interest. And whether that means they're willfully like destroying the little guy or the industry, like that is kind of the history of the United States. But it seems to be happening extra hard in cannabis because it's a new industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we even have our own flagship store in Tarzana, like right there on Ventura Boulevard. And us being in the brand's perspective, transitioning into both now, like retail and having a brand, it's fucking scary. And we're in the red. Like, no one here is winning. The government's taking more tax money than even if you're in the negative, they still want their money.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are any businesses going to thrive and even get through the thick of it if you're just having to give away money at a loss? It's the strangest thing.
And then the city, and then the state, and then the dud, and then the compliance. And the thing with the compliance is, if you follow it, it's a pain in the ass. And we're, despite, we know we're a target. So like, my shit's been vetted, I think as good as anybody's, between the CDFTA, the fucking DCC. We got audits on audits on audits, and that's its own expense, right? So you're already leveled up, and then they tax it all the way through. And to your point, it just seems like 16th Amendment violations, where you could have a business that's losing $100,000 a month, and you still have to pay a shitload of tax on it, right? Or you're losing $30,000 a month, and you still have to pay a shitload of tax on it. And I always say, like, what the fuck happened? I know, like, we can't keep the spirit of the 1700s. There was some things that needed to evolve and change, but they put a motherfucking 4% tax on some tea. The motherfuckers risked their life throwing shit into the harbor and dressed up as Native Americans. So why do you think that, like, is the industry too fragmented? Is the big money controlling it? Or like, why do you think they're not hearing us?
I don't know, man. It's like, it's something that we all talk about all the time. And it's like, it kind of goes back to, I don't have a good answer for it. It's like one of those things where the writing's so on the wall. You could see the revenue that comes into this industry, but then again, it's starving and losing, but you guys are the opposites gaining. There's no fair balance. And I hope one day that everyone that's put their all on the line to support and thrive and be in this industry and create professionalism and jobs for people and everything, you would hope that you could have a day in this time where your finances are stable. You could keep all your employees on for a longer period of time, give them stability to grow within your company. So you're not fucking having, employee turnovers because the next best guy will pay them $2 more, whatever it is. Like, we would like to build a nice family and a good work environment and make sure that we could keep and pay our employees accordingly. And I would hope that one day this industry allows that, with all the fuckery that's going on and the blatant robbery that we're all experiencing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just theft. It might be legal, but it's just theft, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just stealing from people who don't have money, right? They're stealing from the patients. That's ultimately what's happening. They're stealing from just blue collar people that are just trying to, work in an industry that they're passionate about. And there's no new industry, like, that's more open to all sorts of different people that like the plant. Like, I'm not going to figure out AI. That might be a new industry,
Sure.
right? But it's a very welcoming industry, and there's no reason why we should be treated unfairly or penalized for wanting to be part of it. I want to talk to you a little bit about plans to expand. I know you guys. By the way, where's your grow located? Don't give me the fucking address.
No, we have two cultivations in Pacoima. And then we have our first, known as Kush Alley, over there by the Budweiser factory in North Hills.
Nice.
So yeah, we have 3 cultivations total, and then we're doing a nice farm up in Santa Barbara right now.
Cool, right?
So yeah, we're excited about that expansion.
Any plans to come out of state or anything like that?
Yeah, man. Recently we went out to Nevada and met with a couple really awesome groups, walked their cultivation, just to kind of get a good idea of their SOPs and their cleanliness, and just to see if they know what they're doing. And we met a couple groups that we're really fond of. They were familiar with the brand, and they came out to see our facilities and walk through there and kind of comparing apples to apples. And I think we both have a lot to learn from each other, and we could build something special. So we're kind of going through the numbers to see what makes sense. And I would love to expand into the Nevada market.
How's the price? The price points?
Prices are higher out there.
Yeah, right. Because they limited it down a little bit, or less competition, less black market, or just a little bit higher, right?
Yeah, a little bit higher. So I was kind of thankful that, with as expensive as it is to operate, that there's a little bit, more meat on the bone, I guess you could say, out there.
Yeah, no, when I was out there, I took my son he's like, let's do something fun, Daddy. And then he wanted to go to the Great Wolf Lodge. And I was like, bro, that place is, no, I'm like, let's go to fucking Vegas, right? I got 4. So we went out to a trip on Vegas. So, I poked into a few shops there, not to put any of them on blast too hard, but I wasn't overly impressed with the product that was there. And look, don't have the keenest eye in the world, but I know good and bad. And just walking into a few, I was like, I'd poke in downtown and stuff. I had my son with me, but it's just I do think what's going to happen in almost every state, and we don't have any plans to really get out of California today, but I think eventually the California brands, because of the history, because of how deep the artistry is, because of the culture, I think it's eventually gonna move east. And these guys that are escaping California, some people are doing both. I think at the end of the day, California is going to catch up to them, and everybody who built these, padded rooms, and whatever style, I won't mention states, trying to keep friendly. Some of them I might be trying to make a deal with right now, but I just see the game, Maven being a good example of such good quality product. How many things are comparable in Nevada? There's a few good things that are there, but sure. What's your take on what are going to be the, obviously New York is just FUBAR because of, again, another state
shit show out there right now. Man.
Yeah, high taxes, the whole thing. But do you see the same, 8 to 10, 15, 20 California brands getting there? Do you think there'll be a few, real strong New York growers that, end up having I hope that happens.
I hope so.
Right. Yeah.
Me being an enthusiast in cannabis, I would love to see what New York brings to the market. I would love to see what all the legal states bring to the market, because California or LA has the most hype. Like, all the shit came out of LA. Everyone wanted that Cali weed, right? We're known for the quality. I would love to see what all the other states bring to the industry as well. And hopefully it's just one big, community, and accepting that level of expansion across the states, which obviously has been so accepted. Look what's going on in today's world.
You see a lot of you see Connected doing it. You see Jungle Boys having a lot of success out there, and they're
killing it in Florida. Yeah, they're doing a great job. They've got their SOPs down, and that's huge in this industry as well, as just having that consistency. I think Jungle Boys partnering up with Athena, they've done an awesome job showcasing that, and those guys have been at it for a very long time.
Yeah, no, they definitely been around the block, and it's just cool to see that evolution occur. Look, as far as if you could wave a magic wand, or let me say this, if you had a crystal ball, 3 years, let's just go for fun, go out 3 years, where do you think what would be your goal for Maven, looking out about 3 to 5 year time? Obviously none of us fucking know, but how do you think that whole thing shakes out?
If I had a good crystal ball that could dictate what our future would look like, I just wish it would be on the I guess more on like the positive going to work vibe, where like you feel the fruits of your hard labor instead of the kick to the nuts that we get every morning just trying to go to work, and the defeat that we all feel being in this industry. Like, I would just want to get up and have fairness and feel the fruits of all the hard work that all of us are putting in this industry, and I guess feel that pulse or that thrive, and make you want to work harder, I guess, but in a more positive light versus working harder because you're getting beat down all the time.
Yeah, I do think there's this cool stubbornness about people in cannabis that are just like, nah, man, I don't give a fuck. I'll suffer a fucking 100 times over before I let this go. And then the funny thing you said about getting kicked in the nuts, there's this video of these Asian karate masters that are just fucking taking it, kicked in the dick. Yeah. So like, when we hire somebody new that's got a sense of humor, I got to be a little more careful as I've got to remember I'm the CEO. But I'm always like, here, this is the training video. Get ready, right? Because that is really what it is. And it's not just taking the kicks in the dick. That's like part of it. You have to be willing to get up and do that. But you also have to be willing to, or have the nimbleness to adjust, because there's no way of knowing what's coming down the pipe. And it's really a day-to-day thing. Like, are the prices moving? What's happening now? Like, if you would have told me a year ago that, without getting too deep into it, we'd be negotiating 8 possible hey, give me your keys and we'll try to turn your asset around.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought the business model was going to be, get a dispensary, build it out. Now it seems like, whoa, there's enough, it's fucked up, but there's enough blood in the street right now where guys are in capitulation mode. So, I always say that you don't have to be the fastest camper, or when I said that backwards, you don't have to outrun the bear. You just have to be, faster than the slower campers,
Absolutely,
right?
Man.
So I think that's a little bit of, what's going on out there. Let me ask you about this one, because everybody has a different opinion. I think the answer is, well, what the fuck does it look like? When do you think federal legalization comes down the pipe? And, what do you think do you have a gut intuition on how it's going to play out?
I really don't, man. I feel like this industry has been such a shit show. It's really hard to say if there's going to be anything beneficial from the feds coming in. I think the only thing I could really hope for is to have a fair level of taxation and allowing us to thrive and have our businesses operating fairly. Like, if you look at alcohol, cigarettes, all the other shit that's out there that's accepted, those are causing so many more problems across general population than I think cannabis ever has. Besides maybe like cartel shit or whatever else goes on out there on those types of trades. Yeah, but if the federal focus is on that as like the
but if there was no taxes, there would be no need for. I mean, look, I think there'd always probably be a little bit of a bougie black market. Like, sure, it's just what it is. But but it would be, instead of 2/3, it might be 10 or 15%, and the marketplace would take it over. And I always chuckle, and you said a little bit earlier where like, oh, you guys charge too much. It's like, no, bro, you're paying the fucking government. Like, to your point, we used to make a lot more money in, the 215 days. And the other thing I always chuckle out, and not to say I know some fire fucking growers on the black market, but there's definitely this little like undercurrent where like legal weed's no good. And I'm like, just stop, right? They're both good. There is no better or worse. We're all one market. One's taxed more than the other one. But those are, when I see those comments, like, there's no good legal weed, it's like, come on, dude. I could rattle off, 20, 30, brands right now that are fucking really, really.
There's a lot of great brands out there pumping heat out. And I think that's what's really cool about watching this industry grow is I'm seeing more and more great quality come to the industry. And I admire like so many brands out there where I love getting their flower. I love supporting them. I love the whole culture and the cannabis community in general. I just think, it's neat to be a part of this whole growth. And I really hope that everyone that's put in all this blood and sweat and a lot of tears, a lot of tears, but I think we're built for success, and defeat isn't really something that anyone in the cannabis industry is willing to forfeit. You're not just going to give up. And I really do take my hat off to all the hardworking brands and dispensary operators and everyone that really sticks it out every day to fulfill their passion. No,
for sure. Much love to everybody sticking it out. And then, really to your point, like without the teams behind us, like, I always say like, humbly sometimes, I get to be the face of the brand, but really like, a lot of times like, we threw Party on Pine, and I was saying this when Wayne was here. People would come up to me and be like, "Oh man, thanks so much. I really appreciate this." I'm like, I really just kind of show up to this one, right? Not to say that I don't put my 80 hours in, but there's so much shit that the team does that's super just impressive, and how much struggle that goes on with that. And to your point, they deserve the quality of life for the amount of effort and everything that they're putting in. Look, let me touch on let's say kind of one more interesting thing. So you get through the door, you got it on the shelf, right? And
right.
So like we just been through this, and it's a hard thing to do. We're up to like 159 brands. It's just too many, right?
Sure.
And I wish we could carry everybody. We just can't. I get all these things slide in the DMs. I try to give everybody a shot. It's hard. It's a lot of work. So we got it down to 124, which is a lot. And we have like a couple thousand SKUs. And then, I always tell everybody like, I'll put my mama on the shelf, but like if that shit don't sell, like what are we supposed to do? So sometimes people think like, oh, I know him, I'll get it on. And it's like, no, bro. So you get it on the shelf. How does Maven, get it sold? Besides having an amazing product, how do you make the consumer aware and get it sold and get it into the customer's hands?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Getting on the shelf is a challenge. But getting that second order and maintaining that momentum is the biggest challenge, right? So, at Maven, what we've done is we've implemented so many different things to support our retail partners. Like bud tenders are key, man. And I think for us cultivating our own product, we're able to allow all the bud tenders to experience all of our SKUs. We're more than happy to give the gift for them to experience our brand and know about it. Because if you don't get to sample these products or try it, then how is someone going to be educated on it and be able to share that with the patients or customers that come in, right? So we're very generous with our amount of samples that we support bud tenders with, because overall, I feel like bud tenders, maybe they get overlooked a little bit for their role in the industry, but I truly feel like they have the biggest role in the industry, because they kind of dictate what brands, with them being familiar with it, and they're the ones that really create the movement for all the brand success. And if you can't get that product into their hands, then they don't really know what to say or how to talk about you. I mean, you guys also have a great event space. I think bringing people together to have an opportunity to engage with the brands. I think you guys did a really cool one over in Pomona, right?
Yeah.
So, we got the opportunity to meet up with a lot of your staff and showcase products that they weren't familiar with. And what did that do for us? We got other SKUs in your doors just because they got to sample it. So I think across the board, you get on the shelf, support the second order, maintain contact, show up, talk to the bud tenders, educate them on the brand, take the opportunity to have demos, have a BA staff, just be consistent, be thankful that you have the opportunity to engage with that partnership and support it, and maintain that space on the shelf, because that's the most difficult thing.
No, I like the way you put it. Get the second order, right? So like everybody thinks you get the first order done.
You're fucking winning.
Well, good.
No,
and then you'll burn out purchasing and everybody else. And then, like I said, this happened with people I know and like, and then they're like, bro, your purchasing isn't getting back. And I'm like, yeah, I just pulled your fucking inventory because I'll give you a little special treatment. Look, It ain't fucking selling. What do you
got to support it.
Yeah, what do you want me to do? And I do agree that, I always say that some of the best ROI is the little sessions that we've done.
Yes.
Sometimes big events are also really, really good, but like you get 30, 40 bud tenders in one room and you have a little sesh, and then that kind of spreads out. Then you'll become part of the culture, whatever the ROI is on all this other marketing that you might be able to do, like having that touch. And then, a good bud tender in a day, they might sell a few $1,000s worth of weed, and that's a fucking, if you could make a contact with that person. And I think most of the people that come in the stores, they actually want to like dabble around a little bit and see what they like.
Well, I think that's one thing that's really special about what Catalyst has done. Your marketing team, fucking, Nathan, talking to him and engaging. I think what you guys have done is set up the dummy proof platform in a sense, because you have your event space, you gather the bud tenders, you bring the brands in. Like, you guys have given brands that opportunity of engagement, which is fucking huge. And if you don't seize that moment, it's almost like you're not taking full advantage of, you know, engaging with your partnership and showcasing your brand and that opportunity to increase that momentum. And that's really special. So having that location you guys had that one on Pine, you know, that shit was
We're bringing it back.
That was cool for a minute, man. Like that was an amazing moment. I remember going in there and you got Dave. He's so cool. Yeah. Like your whole team is great, man. And
the mayor of the Hot Box.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah,
Shout
Dave.
out to Nathan, who's in the audience.
Nathan, Dave, you guys' whole team is so special.
No, they just did a great job of you know, cultivating the culture, and then like, you know, you have this little vision in your head, and then people start adding to it and really coming up with their own creativity and then getting it carried out. It's just, you know,
and they're hands-on, you know?
Exactly.
They're hands-on with the brand. They want them to have those tools to succeed. And that's what I think is really special about what you guys have brought to the industry too. Because I work with so many different retail partners and everyone's got their own methods to the madness. I feel like you guys have created something pretty special, and that level of engagement is huge. Like the ROI in it is
appreciate
obvious.
that. I always say sock in the pants, where it's like, you know, people, you open a new store, congratulations. It's like, yeah, you know, I got a sock in my pants right now. It doesn't quite look as, you know, we're getting by.
Yeah.
But look, let me just say this as we, you know, cruise towards a wrap here. What we're really, really focused on is uplifting brands, patients first, quality first, right? They've been around. We want to see diversity of product survive. If you're out there and you're coming to one of a Catalyst stores or anywhere, wherever you shop, make sure you give Maven a try. It's as good as anything on the top shelf. And look, they're out there winning fucking awards. That's real shit. That's people awards. You know, they're a real force to be reckoned with, and they've just been doing it right size, moving along. But I'd encourage anybody to you know, make sure that they come out, they give it a try, and then, you know, develop your own opinion. But you know, all the feedback from our stores, all the feedback from the customers, like I said, Maven is smoking as good as anything, and we appreciate you guys as a partner, and appreciate you coming on. And you know, we'll wrap it up with this: if the way the customer votes is with the fucking pocketbook. It's just the reality of what it is. So, you know, sometimes I think, you know, it's in and out and whatever, but just make sure when you're doing that, you know, first of all, obviously get what you want and the quality that you want, but also what you want the industry to look like in the future. And it's only through the dollars of the customers, really, like, you know, same shit. People come up, thank you for this or that. And I always say, and it's as true as it can be, we ain't shit without y'all, which is the customers. So again, you know, shout out to Shane and Maven for coming on. Really appreciative. And you know, that's all we got. We'll call it a wrap. Weed for the people.
Weed for the people.
Episode 8. Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.